Yo, look at this. I'm looking like this when it comes to athletes getting paid. Look, McNeil got the perfect face for it. Like, she's over here, like, huh? What the heck is going on? Because athletes, did you guys know that athletes at the Olympics don't get paid a red cent? They don't get paid anything to complete the Olympics. Yet the Tokyo Olympics are the most expensive Olympics yet. $15.4 billion is what it costs. Now, that's probably including processing refunds and all types of stuff. But hey, look, the profits that they got broadcasting rights to these companies. And you wonder why they don't show them on TV or whatever, and they show them weird and whatnot. Hey, look, blame however they do the contracts for track and field stuff. We're talking about track and field. The other events don't get paid either. But for track and field athletics, $3 to $4 billion. Now, to my understanding, I believe that they got between $3 and $4 billion of profit too. I think that's what it actually was. But look, they got apparently virtual ticket sales income, $80 million or whatever. Look, at the end of the day, they got picked up by the Japanese government. Wow. So even the Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee based in Switzerland, they didn't even have to cover the windfall for that. Isn't that crazy? However, they set up there. Now, how does this work for you all, and how does this impact an athlete's mental health and everything? How does this impact them, right? So athletes are out here struggling and busting their behind to go to the Olympics to get zero. Each country gives out different things. Guess what? Like the Middle Eastern countries, they barely get any money. I mean, they barely get any goals or wins. So they'll give out like $1 million. I wish I had that list right now, but that isn't as important. They give out $1 million, like Qatar, if I'm not mistaken. They lead the charge, $1 million to get a gold medal for Qatar. No wonder you see a lot of distance athletes go to Qatar. And then you saw Nasser, but her family went from Nigeria to Bahrain. And so she probably got a big bonus if you look at what the country gave. Now, when it comes to the World Athletics, well, they pay up some money. But even the small amount that they give, tens of thousands of dollars from the USA track and field and everything, USATF or however that goes, right? That pales in comparison. Oh, you think $10,000 is going to cover you for an entire year? When you got to factor in, you got to pay your coach. You got to pay your staff members as far as like, look, you get massages and stuff, right? You got to pay for travel. You got to pay for your food. You get taxes taken out. Your agent gets paid from that. You got to think about that. Now here, this is what the World Athletics can do. So if the World Athletics, which we know, we're very confident, I'll put it that way, they're making less money at World Athletics than it would be for the athletics portion alone of the Olympics, okay? Because the Olympics is huge and World Athletics isn't as big, but it can eventually build up to something like the World Cup. That's what the goal would be, I would presume. So they gave out $7.5 million. And stay with me because I'm going to talk about how we can get the athletes paid with the track and field league that I brought up a concept back in 2012. And we can even have a virtual track and field league, right? An animated one where even you guys can be like, hey, you might be the manager of the team and stuff, or the coach or something like that, quote unquote coach. And then maybe you can make a little bit of money. If that concept even sounds cool to you, let me know, because that goes with the animated videos that we got. So smash that like button because we got that coming on. But hey, and before you smash that like button, don't forget that this one thing right here, if this loads up fast, that you are watching Head and Shoulders Above the Rest, where we cover athletes' performances and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. And so let's get into this. Now, look, $60,000 for a gold medal for individual events. Silver, $30,000. Bronze, $20,000. All right? Okay, cool. Remember, you still got to pay your staff or whatever, however that goes. But here, 8th place is $4,000. Okay, you got $4,000 for your time. No other money for the other people. Understandable to a certain extent. Relays, they up it by 20,000 for gold, so 80,000. They up it by 10,000 for silver, but for some reason it's exactly the same for bronze and exactly the same for 8th place. It's kind of weird that bronze and 8th place is like they just punish you at both of those events, and every other spot gets extra money. Now remember, this is per relay team. And for the people that's why I'm saying it out loud for you, just in case you can't see it. If I zoom in, it's not going to show on the screen for however this Zoom goes on this different computer. While I'm waiting for the other one to be repaired. I just don't want to spend extra money on it, understandably. But here, now the relays here, you're splitting that between your relay partners. You know that, right? This is per team, not per individual. So you ain't getting 80,000 for yourself and then she getting or he getting it. No, it's all of y'all getting it and you splitting it 4 to 6 ways. However, y'all discussed beforehand or however that goes. Because if there are people that ran in the semis and the finals, well, I don't know that. I mean, maybe they should get more money, or maybe it's like, well, you know, we're the ones that set the record, so you guys get less money because we got the record stuff, and we're the ones that are fast when y'all just here to get us around to the next round and make sure you don't mess up, type of thing. So I don't know how they discuss it, but that's how it is. Now, here's the final thing before we get into how we really gonna make the athletes some money, okay? Because the way it's set up is kind of like boxing, and we don't even do a good job as a sport to set it up like boxing. What? Like, you don't even hype them up enough. Like, they don't bring in the hype at all. Track and field is quite literally boring in so many different ways. You know, they need to have somebody like a Richardson or Usain Bolt that has an electric personality. So they came and they got confiscated Russia for their doping stuff, right? And they got $2 million. That was the fines they gave them. Slap on the wrist, basically. The Russian Federation, Athletics Federation. So $1 million extra goes to Oregon, and then $1 million extra goes to Budapest. So that 7.5 million that was going out, now it's going to get a boost. I wonder how the distribution between gold and everything like that. Now, remember, there are 44 track and field events and 3 relays now. 44 track and field events and 3 relays. The 4x1, the 4x2, and the mixed relay of the 4x4. And they're trying to fight to get the, I think the cross-country relay that they came up with. I think it's like a mixed relay. That was a kind of cool concept at World Cross-Country Championships. They're trying to get that over at the Olympics to be an Olympic event. It'll be very interesting to see something like that. Basically, people running a 3K each on some kind of field. But yeah, there you go. This includes the marathon. A lot of people don't remember that marathon is part of athletics. Now, how are we going to get the athletes to do this? Well, one of the things we can do is we form them as a team. Another one, we can have a ranking system. But let's just say we form them as a team, and we got Mr. Ronnie Baker right here, that he's over here and he's doing this thing. He's like the all-star of his team. Because let me ask you guys, you know, a lot of you guys put in the comment section, I wish they would cover more athletes. When you thought of the Cleveland Cavaliers for a second for the NBA, did you think anybody else other than LeBron for a second when he was there? Did you think Miami Heat other than Dwayne Wade and LeBron or whatever? Or the Lakers before LeBron went there, it was what, Kobe and who? Shaq, Kobe and who? Like that's who you're thinking. Now, the benefit of having a team is this. You put on that jersey, you go on social media, people meet you, you market yourself, you're like a salesperson all the time. You can build up your own brand with that. And also with these other teams, they have minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes that you see them, right? All the time. In basketball, you see them going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You get name recognition. The announcers are saying it. But with the sprint that lasts 10 seconds, it's got to be like how boxing is built up. All of this hype got to be there before. And a lot of times the hype really just isn't there. The hype got to be there. So you got to build it up by keep saying over and over your big ones. It's going to be Baker versus Gatlin versus Bromell. Pretend they're all on different teams versus DeGrasse versus Simbine, right? Versus Adutaru. All of them on their own teams. And then you just hype that up, hype that up, hype that up, hype that up. But then you got your 2 big ones. If it in track, it's going to have to be like all of those because they're running all together. But think of it like this. A headline only has so much space in it. What am I going to put Baker, Justin, Gatlin? Think of how YouTube is. It limits my character space. That's why on the last video, I had Shelly Ann Fraser Price's full name. And then I said Jackson, blah, 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 and last name for everybody else. I would have used their full names. I don't care if the title looked ugly. I would have used the full names. One, for algorithm. So if people are searching them, they get to see the hype up between all of them. That's what it would be. Another way is to in the description of the videos, which I forgot to put in for the last 3 videos. So that's hurt my search engine optimization. But another thing is, if it's limited space and a limited attention span, you could really only focus on a handful of people. So if they only focus on 1 or 2 people, I mean, the other people got to do what they do. They got to fight to get to that spot. But one thing we don't want them to fight for is, I don't need these athletes fighting for a living. They need to be fighting to get better than the next person, but they taken care of. What would happen to Shelly Ann Fraser-Price? And this is my final point, and then we're going to get into the dollars and numbers here. What would happen to Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Herah, Allison Felix, had they not done what they did at the age they did, right? What happened to Shelly Ann Fraser-Price if she didn't make the Olympic team and they said, nope, we're going to put Veronica Campbell-Brown instead of you? Boom, her money's gone, right? Her money's gone, because although the Olympics didn't pay her, oh, she's a young person. Oh, we can give her a sponsorship. Yep. Okay. Right. Or a bigger sponsorship purse. Now she can have appearance fees at all of these places. So now she could show up. She might not do as well, but now obviously she might lose some of that as if she doesn't consistently perform at some level, but she could show up, have a bad race or 2. And while she didn't get the Diamond League $10,000 for a win, hey, she got 4th or 5th, and she got, I don't know, $3,000. Well, you know what? She got an appearance fee of, let's say, $20,000 or $30,000 to show up because she got that gold medal. Now, what about all of these other athletes that are in the top 10, top 20, that they made the Olympics, but they couldn't make the final? Oh, SOL. You training all day, you could be homeless tomorrow, because you know what? You're working hard on this job. Now, I will say an asterisk mark. Roger Bannister was able to break 4 minutes in the mile working as a doctor or a physician. And he was on his feet all day. And you know how they work. They're working 13, 16-hour shifts sometimes. And he was able to scientifically break down to how to break 4 minutes in the mile. Now, obviously, we saw what he did at the Olympics, diddly squat, if he even went toward that. But still, we still got to compensate that. Look, I can't use that excuse. I got to talk out of both sides. That's what I have to do. I got to be fair and balanced here in some ways. Yes, it's going to affect people differently. So some people, it's going to really take a toll on their head. Other ones there. But yeah, would Allison Felix have run slower if she had to work as a cash register at fast food joint on her feet all day? Maybe that would have affected her. And the last thing here, you know what? Some athletes are probably winning because other athletes with talent have to settle and they got to work a job. And they got to work a job because they slipped up out of the blocks. So their chance is gone. That's 4 years they got to wait. Or maybe that's another year for the World Championships. Then they got hurt during that year. And because they didn't get the spot, because they're training so hard now, and they're probably getting a lack of sleep. This has happened to me before. Training so hard. I wasn't going for the pro level, but training so hard to break 4 in a mile, running 2 businesses and everything. And then the lack of sleep doesn't allow my body to heal properly, and boom, get injured. Running myself into the ground, boom, get sick. And so maybe some of these athletes are at the top for a reason. Once you get the money, it is a little bit easier. Now your life, as far as money wise, is a little bit easier. But on the other aspect, you still got the pressure of people coming after you. So let's bring this up. Here's the calculator, the handy dandy calculator. I want y'all to see these numbers on the screen. So if you ain't looking at the screen, you can look here, or you could just listen. Now, what I had was, for a track and field league, I thought, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. I thought this back in 2012. Hey, I have 6, 7 events, because if I do it myself, I don't have the connections that some of the other people have, that may be a pro athlete, that may be that head coach for the pro level. I had dealt a lot with youth, and I saw the money that came in. And you know, they didn't pay out the money. And I'm just wondering, I had to demand that I'm getting paid. And I remember I got robbed. I'll never forget this. I had got robbed. At the time, I would carry around cash, and they had all the cash with me, and obviously dumb decision. They had all of that. And I remember I was commanding like, hey, yo, you gonna pay me this much or else I'm not announcing. And it went from you gonna pay me this much for not announcing. And that was basically like all my money or whatever I had with me. Um, and then I was just like, okay, I'll take whatever. And then I got undercut by I got paid a third of what I said and what we had agreed upon. And they didn't want to put it in writing or anything, but I was just not going to announce. And they wanted me to really announce this one particular meet. I'm not going to say what it is because then I'll out certain people and whatever. And I don't want to have bad blood with them, but I'm sure they listen to this channel. But no hard feelings to you all. As far as business, that was grimy. You all as people, maybe you're okay, but as business, like I said, no hard feelings with you. I just got to call it as I see it. I got paid a third of what I had asked for. And then after that, that's when I was just like, yo, I'm just going to focus on investing. I'm going to focus on my other stuff. Forget all this announcing stuff because they're really trying to do this. And there were people, track and field officials, that go to these national meets and they don't get paid diddly squat. If the officials ain't getting paid, then what you think they gonna think of the athletes that's busting their butt there? You can't pay the officials in 90-degree weather, in the hot humidity, wherever it is. Some places don't have stands, whether this is youth or not. I've seen the money come in. I saw the numbers. I'm like, yo, y'all making money hand over fist. You could pay this out. So that's another way that I was thinking. I'm like, okay, how do we disperse this money, take this money, this purse here, and pay it to these athletes? And one of the problems here, as I get into these numbers right here, is, and for those that are regular viewers, you know I got to say some 3 to 4 times and I get into the subject. The thing is, one of the problems with Olympic sports, particularly track and field athletics, is that they try to normalize and humanize all of the people too much. When you look at the NBA, you really, like, the people, in my opinion, you delusional. You got to think, hey, I can't do what that guy's doing. Michael Jordan just did something I don't even think I could do. Oh man, LeBron is whining again. Man, he need to go out there. But you really not thinking, oh yeah, I could do that. If I work hard enough, I can get in there. No, it's a height thing for most people. And there are some short people that have done a lot of good things in the NBA, in the NFL or whatever. There's got like a huge standard where people just, a regular person is not thinking. But a regular person, you start talking to them, oh yeah, I could break that. And they'll start lying to you. They'll just be like, I met plenty of men and women. A woman that clearly was a volleyball player or something like that. Yeah, I ran 4 minutes for a mile when I told her I was going to training to break 4 minutes in a mile. Yeah, I ran 4 minutes a mile every day for practice for 2 miles. And I'm like, when? In high school. And I'm like, the high school record for women is 4:33 or something like that. There has been 0 women to break 4 minutes a mile. Well, I did it. And then, I ran a 20.9. Where, sir? What's your name? Oh, let's look you up. I don't see the records for it. Oh, I ran a 19.4. 19.4? Like, these are all conversations of people that said 19.4. The regular person think they could just throw out numbers because of how the cameras are and how they humanize them. Look, these track and field athletes are doing something most of us can't, okay? Now, here's the numbers. I would reduce the 44 events down to 13. All right, 13. There's the digits there. Let me change the background right here real quick. Let me change this background. All right. Let's change this to our Head and Shoulders background real quick. All right. Let me bring up this calculator back up here. So we got 13 events. 44 down to 13. I know some people going to be crying. What 13, Head and Shoulders? Which one are you talking about? Well, ATR, Head and Shoulders ATR. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. But know that we're going to have the 100 and the 1500 for sure, because those are like the blue ribbon events type of thing. Like those are the classic things to have. And the relays are not included in those events. Like the relays can be made from the main events. Those aren't like, oh yeah, you get extra pay because of that. No, those are just like, and we have a working model because of high school and college works with teams. Now, here's 13 people, all right, or 13 events. We get 3 people per event, all right? 13 times 3. That gets us 39 athletes on a team. Now, you're thinking, all right, that seems small. Well, maybe it is. 39 athletes per team. Now we add in We have a head coach. That's one. We got an assistant coach for the field events. That's two. We got a sprint coach. That's three. And we got a distance coach. That's four. All right. Now, maybe we don't need all four of those, but I'm overcompensating here for a particular reason. I like to over budget instead of under budget. I always like to be more instead of being wrong. And then we got to compensate for more. So I'm going to put us four. 4 plus 39, even though we don't have to do it, is 43. All right. We got 43 people on the team, because obviously it's not 4 coaches per every event. All right. With a team that small, we may not need to specialize with that, with the head coach being able to take on one of those coaching positions. But I'm putting that in for a reason. Now, we're going to multiply that by 50,000, because my base pay for these athletes and coaches and otherwise are $50,000. Why 50,000? The median income for an individual in the United States is under 50,000. I want to make sure that these athletes, if they make it into this league, you're going to be paid more than that. That is $2.15 million. All right, for one team. Now, I originally had this booked out for 6 to 9 teams. Now, let's multiply this by 9. All right, that's 19.4, rounding it up, $1 million. Now, I had since then changed this to a different strategy. I multiplied this. Let's do this. 215,000 times 18. Remember, I gave you the example 2 or 3 videos ago. 18. Now that's almost $40 million. That's $38.7 million. Now there's something missing here. Obviously, the athletes can get paid $50,000. Now you might be wondering, okay, $50,000 is the minimum. What do they go up to? Now, in my original plan, I didn't have a cap there. Maybe you all can come up and brainstorm with me of where I would cap them out, because I just had it flat rate where everybody was getting at. Now the coaches would get slightly less. They would be getting in the 40,000 range. So they probably would be making slightly less than, they would be making less. It was either 35,000 or 42,000. So they would be making less than median. And because the athletes are like putting in like physical bodily harm damage to themselves, that's why I wanted to compensate them at least slightly above the median income for a person in the United States, or a man in the United States. You get what I'm saying? So the men and women would be getting somewhere around those there. But I had it where I had it just as a single gender, because I couldn't wrap my head around being able to double all of the budget for each gender. And I think that's where, when people talk about track and field leagues, as I've run through some people with ideas and they were like, oh, did they take the idea with yours? I was like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure track and field league has been there since the 80s, as people have told me. They don't compensate for the other gender. If this is compensated for the other gender, which I am sure people have not done, then I got to double this, because I'm only talking about men or women. This is 3 athletes per event, 18 teams with 1 gender. All right. And I know some people might be in an uproar. I'm just putting it all out there for you guys. But I would have to just start with 1 or 2, or else we going to have to like double the budget. What do you guys think about that? Now, this is talking about 1 gender. Now, that's why I say, as I'm presenting this to you guys, let me know early. Now, how can the athletes make more? Well, here's one thing. Did you know that if we still have shot put in there, which that is one of the events that are included, well, shot putters are missing a lot of money. Did you know that they could get sponsors all over their body, like a NASCAR type of thing? Or I learned from esports. One of the things I've looked at is esports. And they are able to fill stadiums. They're able to get so many sponsors and everything. Look, I'm going to have my shot putters. They're going to have Muscle Milk up on their freaking sponsorship if they want to get sponsored, that one athlete there. Yeah, they got a uniform within reason, and I'll give them a spot on the uniform that they can have that. Now, obviously, a team, one of these sponsors can sponsor a team or something like that. But ultimately, the sponsors ain't determining where the athletes are going to get coached. Oh, no. That's the problem right now. And the reason why the athletes can't get paid, because the sponsors will determine. Mikey and everything, they'll say, well, you can only get coached here. All right. Well, then Laditas will say you can only get coached here. What if the better coach is over here, ma'am or sir? Well, you can't get with that quote unquote better coach. You just got to stick with where you're at because this is where we sponsor them at. And so now you get to free up the coaches. And then they could get to their own sponsorships that are above. Let me take this down now. I'll get back into more numbers in a second because that's the bare minimum numbers. Then you can get into the athletes going and build up their social media. Because remember what I said earlier with the NBA? Let's say you get on Twitter, you build up your Instagram. Now you get a following there. You might not be the highlight person. Let's say that you're Safan Hassan, and then you got an Elaine Thompson Hero there. Now, both of those two will be people that bring you on the same team. But let's say it's a male league. And then you say you're Jakob Ingebrigtsen, right? He has a huge following, particularly in Europe. Maybe it's not as much in the U.S., and let's say it's a U.S. league, but he's going to have fans over there watching how he does here and dominates here, right? Well, then you got, let's say Usain Bolt was still running, and they're on the same team. Then you got Justin Gatlin on another team. Then you got Tyson Gay on another team. And then you get like some other distance athletes that are less known. Well, what you could do is, because the brand is built behind Justin Gatlin and Usain Bolt on the other one, he's going to overshadow Ingebrigtsen by a huge amount, but it still would be him and Ingebrigtsen probably brought up a lot of times. They'll tie his name there because Ingebrigtsen is so young and doing what he's doing now. So it's built around those two. And if you're a lesser known person that's on the team, well, guess what? Get yourself in the limelight with Usain Bolt. Try to talk to as many people as possible. Build up your stuff. When you go to the store, they'll be like, wait a minute. You're part of the lightsabers, or I don't know, the lions, the yellow lions or something like that. We come up with some name that's better than that, but you're part of the yellow lions with Usain Bolt. Wow, like that's crazy. Yeah, what's your name? What do you run? Oh, wait a minute, you were the one that did that. Wow, y'all the one that won the meet. You the one that won the meet. It was a 2-point difference, and you came up and you got yourself that third place, and that was the thing that got you there. You know how. Man, I'm getting freaking bumps thinking about it because I've seen people when I've met some NBA players throughout there, and I see somebody spark up when they recognize one of like a bench player or something like that, a secondary player, right? And then they're like lighting up and getting excited, and that's how you build the brand right there because you got a team. The team is recognizable sometimes ahead of that, and then they start getting known. This is the team that wins. It's like kind of like Team Jamaica. Like if you made it a national thing, I would make it where everybody's mixed in. You get somebody from Jamaica here, this thing and that. Now, here's the other numbers that we got to consider. Did you all know that we got to pay for athletic trainers? That we got to pay for insurance? That we got to pay for the renting out the facilities and everything? This is just paying for when I mean insurance, I don't mean the medical insurance for the athletes. What I wanted to do here on that $50,000, I don't want to give athletes just $50,000. I want to also, because to build a team, let me ask you guys this question. How can I build a team if all the athletes are in different locations? Like for real talk for a second. Can I build an efficient team with them in all different locations? Or they gotta be in the same location. Think of it, especially with the distance athletes. Like, wow. Like the athletes I'm sure many of them want to go to altitude. So do I have the distance athletes fly in and then that's paid in our team travel? See, that's things that many people, I thought long and hard and I had delayed about it because look, I had went homeless in between this, right? In between 2012 and now. And then I built myself back up. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this crypto investor and I'm going to fund this thing my freaking self, or at least want to have the money to fund it myself. And that's one of the goals that I want to have here is that I can fund this thing myself for a couple of years. And that's what I'm trying to work for. If I got to reduce it to 9, which is a little bit more maybe achievable, and then reduce the amount of people, maybe it's 2 athletes per event, and it's 9 events, I would do something like that. If I got to reduce the pay from 50,000, maybe down to about 30 something thousand, I don't want to get too close to even double poverty. Double poverty is just like, oh, okay, whatever. But if I get those sponsorships racked in and I can use a proof of concept, then I can go up to them and say, we've been doing this for 1, 2, 3 years. Where the check? Cut the check. Like that type of thing. That's what I had thought of before. But now that I'm starting to see as what needs to happen too, is that we just present the concept and say, yo, this is what we want to do and we can do this. Because I've seen this time and time again, people with just the ideas there, and we got a working model. I've studied different sports from basketball and everything. I've seen how sports react in recessions. I've seen how they the trends are, how they do these sponsorships and other ones. I've helped smaller minor leagues with some of their marketing for like the I don't want to say that. I don't know if I have the permission to say that, but certain indoor sports of more popular outdoor sports I've done and helped them with different leagues. One of them is defunct now. They couldn't get that marketing. They wanted to try to do some deal with me to do some investing with them. That fell through. So, I mean, I had to look elsewhere and just handle my other business. But I have had that experience on a little bit on the other side too. So with bringing that to the table, hey, look, we could get this thing started. But the athletic trainers, $55,000 a year. Let's just say that we got 2. That's an extra 100,000 times 13 teams. You add 1.43 million a year. That's an even, literally. That's an even 40. Just a little bit over that. That's a basically even 40 million. We got to round these numbers up now. Yeah, even 40 million. So if you got 40 million as your base, not including the insurance or anything, what can we do with that? That ain't that much money. What do y'all think? Let me know your ideas down below. I got one other thing, but that's basically covered it. Now we got overtime right here because I'm going to cover one last thing here. Now, maybe it's 2 or 3 things actually. Now, if we look at the countries here, where is it? Doha. Okay, I don't have that, so I'm just going to speak about it because I don't want to take up too much time. Did you know that the money, when they bid on the Doha process, and that was in my last 2 videos ago, 2 videos before this one, right? And I talk about some of these things at the end of my videos, and I know some people don't last to the end. It's okay. You just wanted to see the main event, then you turn it off. Now, Doha, when they bid for, I think it was $37 million to bid for Doha, and they won it back in 2014 or 2013 for the World Championships. 30 million went towards the facility and everything else that was in there. 7 million went to 21 federations, so sports federations. So it could be the Russian Federation, the Ethiopian Federation, the Ugandan Federation, Jamaican Federation, Sports Federation, whatever it is, different countries, to say, we're going to build tracks for you. So they were going to build tracks for people to use on $7 million. That tells me right there that to build a track isn't that expensive. Because people are like, oh, how much does it cost to build a track? Now, from what I've seen, it could be somewhere between $200-something thousand to $1 million, like a base of $1 million. All right. But to renovate it is not as much. A 400-meter track now, right? So let's say Mondo or the other company that Mondo, you have to, it's like rubber plates and you got to roll them out. It rolls out on the track. But the one that's at many universities, I think it's a University of Texas, University of Houston. Darn it, I can't remember that one. But I definitely know University of Oregon uses this. Many of the colleges in the SEC use this track, where it's the one where you got to pour it in. And remember, I gave you all the PDF that's on the other computer in the tabs. They pour it onto the track, and the track surface lasts a lot longer than the Mondo surfaces, and they have a different way that they do it. So it's like a liquid that they pour. Those different, they have costs for those. Now, I would like to create a stadium for that's specifically for the championships for this, where everybody goes. But maybe that's not the best idea because, well, you're not really having a home team, right, per se. But my concept, like I said in the beginning, was, I mean, it will happen in one state too. I had it based out of Illinois, or to have it in Texas or something like that, to have the one location. And the reason why I did that before is because I'm like, well, we got to do this outside of USATF. Like USATF been doing their thing. They ain't paying the athletes. They're not paying the officials. I was getting so upset with that. I didn't understand at first the reasons why some of these things were happening. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A lot of people don't come up and talk to these people, right? Because one person was trying to groom me into trying to take over either a finance board or a president board, because they were going to leave for the youth position. Youth, okay? Not the pro level. And although I did meet a lot of the upper heads and the execs and stuff, including the president, he probably won't know me from a grain of salt, because we only spoke one time, and he said he liked my announcing. That was about it. He said, wow, you one of the best announcers I heard. I don't know if he was just saying that or he meant it. Like, it is what it is. But as far as that, they wanted me to take over at a youth level, and I saw the numbers at the youth, and I saw how the masters were treated and everything. Like, well, masters are, you know, you make money at the youth level. The pros bring in stuff, obviously, and the masters, well, that really doesn't do anything. Like, that's where I found out the relationship it was. Masters don't do nothing, so they're kind of to the side. Youth can bring in money because people are paying fees to bring in, like families and, you know, all of that stuff. And then the pro level is an obvious thing where the sponsors are really bringing in a lot of that. So even the masters level income goes toward the youth or the pros. That's like, well, that's what happens. You pay for your meat, that's going toward that, to my understanding from what is explained. And don't hold me to it. That's what I was explained to my understanding, okay? So how can we fix this? Well, I wanted to have a league outside of USATF. I costed out the stadium and everything. And I have a unique concept, I think, at least. It may or may not work as far as this concept. And this is one thing I don't want to say, because everything else I said, I wasn't specific enough for somebody to be like, well, I mean, they could copy some of the concepts and everything. I don't want to put it all out there, because I still do intend to do it. And if other people form a track and field league, you guys get the idea, please contact me too and be like, yo, I want to brainstorm with you as well. Or if somebody else just does it because they did it, cool. If I decide I want to make one, I'll just do it in a different country. Because me personally, I would like to see a track and field league. And if it succeeds or not, it will be a good experiment to see if that will work. So what do you guys think here? Let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. Smash that like button and subscribe, because we're going to be talking about this more. Brainstorm down in the comment section below. Do you like this idea? Do you hate it? Do you think it's stupid or anything like that? Do you think it's smart? Let me know.